Welcome back to the Two Comma Club podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by Eric Anthony, and we're super excited about this episode. He is the first gentleman that we've gotten to meet in the fitness space. So, Eric, if you could do us a little bit about, or help us out, understand a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Hell yeah. Let's get it. I'm super stoked to be here with you guys. You want me to start from the dark past all the way from the beginning or what?
We've
sounds like the best story.
I do like your story a little bit, so I'd love to hear my audience.
For sure, man. I think it could be super inspirational to your audience. Yeah, it's a wild ride from homeless, drug addiction, addicted to real perks, real drugs, not weed, like Percocets, right? 3 years in jail to, having this awesome award. And, a lot of people see the big award of making millions of dollars and stuff like that, but they don't see, the time between where we started to get there. So I'll keep, the dark part kind of short because I'm sure your audience kind of wants to hear about like more strategy and how we got there and stuff. So long story short, I struggled with addiction because I went down really hard on the dirt bike accident. I used to ride motocross. After I went down on there, this was during the pill pandemic when, things were really bad, especially in like New Jersey and Florida. And that's where I'm from, New Jersey. And due to that criminal drug lifestyle, I actually ended up going to jail for a few years, for 3 years total. I went into that whole jail thing of working out, exercising, getting really hardcore with fitness again, which I actually, I was fit before I got into drugs, but the drugs got me out of it. So I got back into fitness, which was great. I got my habits, my behaviors together. I learned a lot of hard lessons within jail, which I will say I do think was a catalyst for my success. That taught me a lot of behaviors that I do currently have right now. And more so just not ever wanting to go back to the pain that I experienced in the past. They say when the pain to change is greater than the pain of staying the same is when people, change. And for me, the pain was so severe of being locked in constraints and in a jail cell, losing all your freedom that I never wanted. I wanted to be far away from that, right? Yeah, once you get out, as a felon, you don't really have too many opportunities job-wise, right? But the one thing I was passionate about was fitness. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, what opportunities are out there? Like, there's not too much I can do. I don't have too many capital. I was flat broke on my ass. And this was 2018. So I applied to LA Fitness and I actually was like, they're never going to hire me. I'm a felon and stuff like that. And they did. They gave me the opportunity. And at that time of my journey, I was like stoked about it. To me, that was like getting your degree or something, to a felon, to a criminal. That's like, oh my God, like I got my first real job. I was used to doing criminal things, living the drug addict behaviors. And, there's nothing more than I wanted to make my mom proud, to be successful, to, be a boss and stuff like that. And that felt like my first kind of step towards there. Moving forward, that's where I learned sales at. So for those of you who maybe are, I don't know what your audience is like, but maybe some of you, the tip of wanting to start a business, but you're kind of afraid to, or you don't have the capital, one skill that you can learn to start building towards that is sales. For me, at least, I hate LA Fitness. I hate corporate jobs. I'm like the anti 9-to-5er. Like I want to throw a lot of rocks at them, because I think it completely takes away from your freedom and it limits your possibilities and capabilities. But I will say it did teach me valuable skills that attributed to my success, such as sales and communication skills and managing people as well. Long story short, about a year with them, they promised me all these unfulfilled dreams of going from P2C position to PTD, which is a higher level management position where you're hiring, training, the sales team and stuff like that. And actually they gave me that position, but weren't paying me as that position. So I was manipulated. To get it shorter, I was actually one of the best salespeople there. I single-handedly turned around one of their gym locations that was failing. And although I put in all this hard work and effort, they still refused. Well, they put in the slip to give me officially the pay as a PTD, and they fired me. So I felt so used and abused. And are we allowed to curse on here? Yeah, the best way I can explain it is I felt like a whore. Like I felt used. Are you serious? I put in all this hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and then you fire me? I'm one of your best employees. And they're like, yeah, well, you have a criminal history. I'm like, why didn't you check that a year ago? Anyways, it's another one of those hard lessons that pushed me forward. It's one of those times of adversity where it says, this is your sign to change. This is your sign to do something. And, even though I was doing well there, like nothing more than I wanted to be like a boss, freedom. I was still thinking about those things. I just didn't know what the hell to do. And so I was doing a little bit of online fitness coaching. And I don't know if you guys, like how long you guys been entrepreneurs for, but 2018, it wasn't this huge craze as it is now. The internet marketing world wasn't as crazy. Now it's like kind of not everybody believes, there's still a lot of skeptics out there, but it's less skeptical. So I got fired and I was on Route 80 on my way. I was living in Newark, New Jersey, which is a bad area. I was on a sales call with a mentor. He had cold DM me. He's like, dude, you're jacked. And at this time I was so shredded. By the way, before that, I was doing a little bit of online fitness coaching, but I was undercharging. I didn't know how to market. I had 500 followers because I just came out of jail. I didn't know how to utilize social media. So for those who are struggling with those, false beliefs, I have a small following, I have no marketing experience, learn it. I was still figuring out what an Instagram story was at that time. And so I was making like a couple $100 a month with online fitness coaching, just sending out meal plans, super sloppy. And then not even a mentor, but a course, it was more so a course, cold DM me, told me about the opportunity. And I was more skeptical than ever. I was like, 10 grand a month online. I was like, there's no way. And this is 2018. But the way I looked at it was just like, hey, we can either do this and be in the same position, I'm going to be broke anyways, or we can do this and it can actually work, So I pulled the trigger. I actually told him I need to think about it, but 2 hours later, I was like, dude, fuck it, let's do it. I was like, there's something's got to be here, man. There's got to be something. Sure as hell, in the first 30 days, I made 10K a month. And that was life changing for me to go from drug addiction to getting beat up and, kicked in the nuts my whole life to making that much money legally. And I swear in that moment, I was like, this has to be illegal. I was like, I'm doing something illegal, man. There's no way. I'm sitting on my ass a few hours per day, posting content, just being myself and helping people make 10 grand a month. I'm like, this is easier than selling drugs. And I don't have to worry about a cop on my ass. This is the best thing ever. I was sold, man. I was like, and I'm not going to lie, my whole life, I had that entrepreneur spirit in me. I always felt like I was meant for more than being just an employee, that average mediocre lifestyle. I just didn't know where to go until that opportunity, that vehicle that Russell Brunson talks so well about is in that opportunity vehicle. And it was online fitness coaching. From 2018 to 2020, I went from 10 grand, 20 grand, 30K a month. And this was before I had a funnel. This is all before I had a funnel. After 3-4 years of doing it, I was I fell in love with business more than fitness. And I was I got really bored of doing fitness coaching and talking about it. Honestly, I'll be straightforward with you. I wanted to make more money too. I wasn't okay with being stuck at 30, 40, 50K a month. I scaled the business to 50K a month, but I was working my nuts off. And so I started business coaching, and that was 3 years ago. I still didn't have a funnel yet. So when I launched PT Legends, which is my company that helps personal trainers grow and scale their business, and we've had a lot of success doing so, I made 10 grand the first month. A year in, I scaled it to 30 to 50K. I started my first funnel around 30K a month, somewhere around there. I joined another coaching program. They're like, you got to start a funnel. You got to do this. And I was like, okay. And it's one of those things when you build a funnel, because this is about Clickfunnels, right? It's one of those things you look at it like this big, scary monster that you have to build because it's so tech involved. And I'm the least tech friendly, but I knew it had to be done because all the, the monsters were doing it, all the big guys and the guys who are really making millions. I built it out, and I'm not going to lie, the first year I struggled with it. My ads account got shut down. I was still stuck at 50K a month organically for a year and a half. And then I hired another coaching program. They got my ads account set up right. They set up all the automations to go to the funnel correctly. And that's when things popped off. So 2023 was an insane year. That's when I really got good at advertising. I really got good at the sales and growing the team and stuff like that. So 2023 is when we went from, in literally just a couple months of joining this mentorship, from 50 to 150K in just 2-3 months. Now we're currently generating up to 300K in revenue and 200K cash collected. Yeah, last month we did 200K cash collected while traveling to Mexico, California, and doing a lot of things. And that's when I got the 2 Comma Club Award, was towards the end of last year, for doing $1 million in 12 months. Yeah. And that's my story.
That's awesome. You packed a lot into a short period of time there. I love that. One of the things I've helped, I do construction, real estate investing. I've helped a lot of folks get off the street with drugs. I think what for you clicked, obviously getting out of jail, you had to figure it out. A lot of people don't figure it out. It kind of destroys them. What clicked for you though, from, getting out, seeing your situation as being maybe hopeless to some, but then you reconnecting and really just taking off in business?
What clicked for me? I don't know, man. Just no risk, no reward, I guess. You're talking about when I first, started with the first coaching program. I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired, In drug addiction, I don't go to AA, but I was forced to at that time. And there's a lot of principles that you can take into business, into life. And one of those things is like, you're just sick and tired and something's got to change. And I was just sick and tired of being like manipulated and used by the corporate world with no opportunity, no growth opportunity, staying stagnant, just the same, floating by and living check to check, not having nice things, bringing girls to my mom's house in my small living room. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, I wanted to have bigger and better things. And I realized like there has to be something else out there, and there's no opportunity as a criminal other than like starting a business. Online entrepreneurship is literally the greatest opportunity in history where you can get started with little to no capital. I mean, with $0, you can start a business and start making $10,000 a month right now if you just stay consistent and do the work. So it's hard to say, man. I just knew something had to change, man. I was fucking sick and tired of the corporate like 9 to 5 life, man. Honestly.
Definitely. That makes a lot of sense. I feel like it was a similar experience for myself. I graduated college with $110,000 in student loans for a 4-year bachelor in finance. And that pain of having the debt and having it loom over my head made me start asking the question, well, how do I make that kind of money, right? And so in a similar capacity, I see that being something that you can relate to. The pain was greater than the pain of change. And so you adapted and did what you need to do, which is fantastic. So one of the questions I have for you is as you began your entrepreneurial journey and you finally started moving into all of that, it sounds like, if I understood correctly, there was a lot of emphasis around social media and Instagram and things of that nature. So how are you kind of doing the lead gen process and things of that nature?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, definitely for the beginners, like in the beginning, your main focus should be advertising, which simply just means letting people know about your stuff. And Hormozi puts this most simplest, right? There's only really 4 ways to let people know about your stuff. And I do all 4 ways. Initially, it started out with the free ways, which is just contacting people one-to-one through the DMs and through content, right? So with your content, you're able to be seen by, thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people. And so to hit my first 10 to even 50K, I was just doing all organic outbound messaging, content, and high ticket sales. And this requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of consistency. It requires a lot of reps. It's not something you can do 1 or 2 per day. It's something that you need to do every day, multiple times. And that's why a lot of people fail, is because they fail to realize the actual amount of reps it requires to make 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever your goal is. And especially in 2024, the organic game has become more challenging. Now, to go past that 50K a month, number one is you need a funnel, you need automations, but the main key driver for me right now is paid ads. Like a lot of paid ads. Last month, we spent $72,000 actually, because I forgot we just started YouTube ads. So a lot of YouTube ads, driving a lot of traffic to that funnel. Funnels are amazing. They're great. Like, I love them, but a lot of people want to build these websites without a method of lead generation. And in my opinion, you should be doing all 4. You should be omnipresent. You should be everywhere and top of mind with your marketing and, acquiring leads, I guess you can say. So at first, all organic. That to get to that 50K, I did hire people to do additional organic to message for me to go from like 20 to 50. And then that's when I started running ads to go crossing into that like multiple 7-figure level.
Awesome. That's awesome. With your business, so you get these leads. It sounds like, you're being everywhere. How are you nurturing those leads, or how are you growing those leads, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think, a lot of new entrepreneurs just think it's just about getting leads, but a huge component of your marketing system is the nurturing of leads. Like the rule of 7 states of marketing, that people need to see your stuff at least 7 times before they become a customer, right? So I love that question. Something I talk about with my clients a lot. So number 1 is definitely email marketing. Number 2 is YouTube is an excellent way to nurture your leads. Just having that kind of ecosystem where they're able to see more about you, learn more about you. Social proof is extremely important, even if it's personal social proof, client social proof, and using that in your emails, using that in your funnels, SMS automations as well. As soon as someone opts in, like, people highly undervalue the power of like just having a software where you're able to keep them in your ecosystem, like by using Clickfunnels. When they come in, they opt in. Now you got them in your ecosystem. Like, hey, now we just need to build and nurture this relationship. So what I like to do is pretty much, I was actually reading a book today from Russell Brunson, Traffic Secrets, is using the soap opera, right? The soap opera email sequence is we start off with emotion, telling the story of going from drug addiction to multiple seven figures per year. And then, definitely a lot of social proof. Hey, this client made 20, 30, 40, 50 grand per month. This client did this. And then finally that scarcity and urgency, doors closing type emails. And we don't stop there. We will literally nurture you until you pay us. We will SMS you until you D&D us, pretty much. It's SMS until you D&D, So honestly, I feel like, maybe I'm boasting, but I feel like I put out more free value than any of anybody in my space. I drop 2-3 YouTubes a week to nurture these people. I send them to their emails. I got the free school group, free Facebook group, you name it. I'm doing it all to nurture them.
That's awesome. I love that.
Events too are great.
We had I'm glad you mentioned events, because we had Bill Allen on here previously. And when he was here, he talked about the fact that they're doing a lot of stuff around the data that they have involved in the metrics of their company. And one of the things that he found was that for your higher end offers or higher ticket offers, there's a magic number based on how many touch points that you have, where if they attend a certain number of events, they're going to more than likely end up converting into your highest ticket offer. And for them and their company, they found that it was about 2.5 events. As you talk about these events, I'm curious to know if you could kind of explain what they are and the process that it walks people through.
Yeah, so I by no means want to say I'm an expert with events. I've only had 2 small events. It's still something that I'm learning and working on myself. But I will say that I made $30,000 from the last event. But that's nothing compared to Grant Cardone makes millions and Russell Brunson made $1 million in one, half an hour. So in the whole game, I'm just a small fry. Let me just put that out there. I'm a small fish. But what I can't say too much about it because I don't know enough about it. And it gets a little complicated, and I'm not good at coordinating those type of things. So I guess probably the best route is definitely get an event coordinator, which is probably what I should do. But I use the same frameworks that Russell did with the webinar thing. I forgot what it's called, but I basically followed the same hero's journey when I did it. But the events that I had, for me at least, the value I see in it is using it as marketing material and social proof to show other people hey, if we have clients from Europe coming to see me all the way in Miami, obviously we're the real deal. And they're saying on camera, hey, I made this amount. I'm working with Eric. I love the program. That's indisputable evidence to me. So I more so do it for the marketing experience and for the customer experience. And I'll be honest with you, most of the people that came were customers to my events. It was only 30 people. And there was 3 to 4 people who weren't customers. They all signed up, which was great. And I just did I just used the hero's journey webinar thing and then made a pitch almost 40% off, which I really did do 40% off towards the end, and it worked. So I kind of just winged it. I don't know. I'm a big believer in I prefer messy success versus perfect mediocrity. That's actually something I want to hire a mentor in is hey, just teach me.
I love that comment.
Yeah. I can get a little messy, dude, but I get the job done,
I love that. I think you'll never put anything out unless so I can't say too much. I like that. So talk about your audience base. Yeah. Obviously, things are going well. How are you providing value? How are you giving value to your audience or to your clients?
Yeah, so the easiest way to define value is just what can you give away that's actually actionable where they're going to get results from it. So most of the time, what I do is I just give what I give my clients that works and works for myself. I literally give it away for free. I swear to God, if you go to my YouTube, you can make money right now if you actually do the stuff. So it's you pay, the information you give away for free, but they pay for the implementation, which would be once you invest into PT Legends, our company, you are, you're going to get additional information, but the biggest thing you're really paying for is the result is someone being on top of you to make sure you do the actions, the one-to-one support, the community, so on and so forth. I'm a huge Hormozi fan. And like he says, give the information away for free, pay for the implementation. So a lot of people, I think they fear giving away their best stuff because people, are going to use it and then not pay you. But I can guarantee you 99.5% of the people are still going to struggle. Even if you give your whole entire $10,000 course away for free, they're not going to do it. Or B, they're still going to struggle because because they need that accountability, they need the support, they need to believe in the product working. And the way that people believe, in my opinion, is by being a part of a community where people are actually doing what they want to do. So in short, whatever you have that works, just give it away for free, in my opinion, straight up. And the 1% of people who do it, like, hey, that's what we're here for, is to help people anyway. So good for them.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a recurring theme that I've heard a lot online in our space. What really hits me about it is the fact that when you couple that concept with the 80-20 rule, if you're familiar with it, it's the idea that 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your people. It's going to be those people who are really interested in, taking things to the next level. They're going to come in and they're still going to buy the high ticket program in the end, because now they see you as more of the expert and they understand that you are capable of getting results and they're invested. To take that one step further, by having that offer available, especially at such a high ticket price, it really gets people to commit and shift their identity to it. Because when you have to make that large of a commitment, it puts you in a place where if you buy it, you're getting that result. Like you need that return on your investment, which is huge. I'd love to hear some of your success stories that you've had as a coach, if you're open to sharing some of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. At this point, we work with over 900 trainers. We have an extremely high success rate and feedback rate. We have an extremely good onboarding process and client success team as well, which I'm very grateful for, is by having the right people in our client success team, because that's a huge thing that people undervalue once they start cracking 50 to 100K months. You need really good client success, because that's your brand. That's one person saying something bad about you can completely tarnish what you have. So yeah, we've helped clients go from 0 to 10K in their first 30 days. I have. That is a bit rare, but we've done it. I want to be transparent with your audience. Most people don't make 10K their first month, but I will say we have a good batting average at doing so. But if you're going into the game, go prepared for, the long run, not the short term wins. We helped Patty Medina go from 0 to 40K months. We've helped clients go to 50K months. Eli made 25K in his second month with us, starting from 0. Yeah, we just give them exactly, what I've done to succeed, and as much support as we possibly can. 24/7 Slack support, one-to-one calls every week, 5 group coaching calls per week as well. Simple instructions. We try to simplify it as much as we can. But yeah, Patty Medina is a great example of one of our greatest clients. She was working at a bank, making $2,000 a month, hating her job, dreading wanting to leave. Within her first month, she made 12K and then eventually progressed to 40K cash per month. Yeah. And not only that, our community is really amazing. The community that we've built, a great feeling as well. And just having people visit us from all over the world, even though they're small events, has been an amazing feeling. So we've had a lot of client success stories. If you go to my funnel, you'll see more, client success stories than most people have clients. Straight up, there's just go to our YouTube, anything. We have tons of testimonials and clients just winning in our program. So I love that. That's probably the best feeling ever, honestly. They have that saying, right? I forgot how it goes, but basically the gist of it is your success will be determined by other people's successes or something like that, right? The best way to get rich is by helping other people get rich, or helping other people, something like that, right?
Yeah, dude, that's fantastic. Those are some great success stories. I love hearing that. It's amazing to hear the impact that one person can have on so many people. And then as a result of that, the compounding effect of the influence that those people have on others from that. And it's really the thing that pushes growth in our economy and among the new generations and everything like that. So you're doing great work. That's fantastic. Yeah, I would love to dive a little bit more into the details around your funnel itself. I funnel hacked 500 of the 2 Comma Club Award winners and just found a bunch of the different data that sits behind it and everything. And I'd be curious to know what funnel or systems you had in place that you basically applied for the 2 Comma Club Award winner with, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So when you say systems, the automation, what happens after and stuff like that, or? Yeah.
So I guess to be more simple, I'd say did you use an opt-in funnel, an application funnel? What was that kind of?
Yeah, I like just a very simple, I think they call it 4 or 5 step VSL funnel. So, very simple. They opt in, you collect email, phone number, and name, obviously. From there, they're sent, a 7-day email sequence, which is automated through SMS and also email. From there, appointment setter hits them up. But after the opt-in page, you go straight to VSL page, which stands for video sales letter, which is basically just, a short video. I like using just a quick 5-minute video where you are just, explaining your offer, showing client results, and getting them. The goal there is just for them to book a call from there. So actually, I think they call it a VSL book call funnel, right? After that, they hit the application page, and, once they book book a time to then go to the thank you page. So 4 or 5 steps, right? But very simple, straightforward. I know they have like a bunch of different funnels, like the quiz funnel and webinar funnels and stuff like that. But for me, that's worked really, really good. We even used to test out like just having the calendar VSL page and then having it on the next page, stuff like that. But overall, just the same system and process. But we have tested, I will say that, we've tested multiple different copies on that funnel, on the opt-in page, on the VSL. Like I've tested multiple VSLs and different thank you videos and opt-in sequences and stuff like that. Like I think it's more than like, it's very unlikely like your first, funnel is gonna hit it off. You know what I mean? Like I think it definitely takes some testing and optimization.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I'd say is one of the most overlooked parts of the entrepreneurial realm is like everybody hears these awesome success stories of how like you go from zero to whatever dollar figure and all that, but they don't see the dark work that happens in the background and how many iterations you have to do this. Like I love Russell Brunson's concept of you're one funnel away, but the thing about it that everybody, doesn't really hear is the part that it's like, well, it might not be this next one. It might be, 10 down the road, 100 down the road, 50 down the road, who knows, right? But the point of the matter is like, if you start, it does not matter where you start from, because you're capable of learning. And because you're capable of learning, you can then proceed to start building on what you already have to a point where it ends up actually getting results and then growing beyond the results that it's already been getting. And through split testing and optimizing, that's exactly how you keep doing that. But it all starts by just getting it done and getting it out there. And you have to be willing to fail, essentially. And I love, one of my favorite quotes is that the road to success is paved with failure. I love that one. It's so accurate. In that same light, I would love to hear some of your stories about, things that you tried and tested that maybe didn't go so well when you first tried them, and how it is that you were able to manage and overcome them, essentially.
Well, the first VSL I had, I'm not sure if it was a traffic problem, because most of the challenges that I've had have really been with Facebook ads getting shut down, because there's a lot of things that happen before the funnel and then after the funnel that matter just as much as a funnel. You might have a super highly converting VSL, an opt-in page and copy on it, but if your lead quality sucks, or you're not staying on top of your leads, you're not consistent, you're lazy, your team sucks, like you're just not going to get that much of an ROI. Like the funnel's not going to do all the sales for you, right? Especially for a high ticket offer, I'm pretty sure 99% of them lead to booking a call, which means you need to have the sales skills to close it. So at first, the first challenge that I had was the ads account getting shut down. And that's due to lack of my own ignorance with advertising policies, which is part of the newbie thing. And like you said, like, hey, that's a failure you have to experience as an entrepreneur that many will decide was too hard of a failure and quit. And that's why most people don't succeed, is because when they get hit in the face, they can't swallow the punch, right? For me, I kept going, and, literally for like 6 months, I couldn't get a new ads account up and running. And then I started actually veering away from the funnel and started doing DM ads. And that was helpful. It definitely worked, but it wasn't getting me to crack like big numbers and where I wanted to be. Then I hired another coaching program, and they made tweaks to the VSL. They also made tweaks to the copy on the funnel. And then that's when things kind of really fired off, because actually, in addition to that, they, helped me out with the automations that happens after. And I've made several changes to that to see, what's going to convert the most. And even right now, like we are, for example, one funnel, 20% conversion rate on an opt-in page, and like optimal would really be like 30%, right? So we're making tweaks to that to, obviously get a higher ROI. If we can get more people to opt in, we can make more money. We're making changes to the VSL page copy and also the VSL as well. And we also just figured out, for example, I spent like $7,000 on YouTube ads and didn't make a penny. And these are all the dark, stories that people don't want to tell, but you got to be able to face them head on. So the funnel that I currently have, we thought would work good with YouTube, just to give you kind of like context here and answer your question. And turns out it didn't really work out. And we think it's because it's not really aligning with the, the messaging within it, because it's all got to be aligned. If you're saying, for example, hey, moms, we're going to help you, lose 20 pounds in the next 6 months in your ad. And then your VSL funnel, just to make an extreme example, says, are you a dad who wants to burn fat? Like it's going to have a extremely high drop off rate. So everything's got to be, super congruent and aligned. And I've made that mistake as well. I made a lot of freaking mistakes and took a lot of different twists and turns. And, it took 6 6 years to get here, bro, but it's all worth it. I think that's what creates the epic stories, is that uncertainty, is that the failure, and your failure are your greatest lessons, right?
Definitely. One of my favorite things that I was taught growing up was not only to learn from your own failures, but to learn from the failures of others as well. Because if you can do that, you can learn, an infinite number of times faster. And so one of the things I love hearing is people's stories as to how it is that they've faced adversity and either overcome it or not overcome it, because there's lessons in both sides, and it's like what to do or what not to do and things of that nature. So one of his favorite questions he likes to ask at this point in time is like, what would you say is kind of like your defining superpower? Like the one thing that you can attest the majority of your success to, that you can do so well that if you were blindfolded and had one arm behind your back, you could just crush it. What's that thing for you?
Resilience.
Resilience? Mm-hmm. Can you lean more into that?
Yeah, you can't stop me. If you drop the A-bomb on me, right, and God literally shut down my business, by tomorrow I'll make 10 grand with a new business. Like nothing can stop me. Like I don't care what type of adversity hits me. I don't ever stop. I don't give in to my emotions. I feel like sometimes I do have emotions, but I don't listen to them by any means. So if I'm having a bad day, if it's rainy, if it's ugly out, if I broke a knee, I'm still going to keep going. Versus most people, they get a little sniffle and they're soft. Like people are just so soft, honestly. People are so freaking soft, and it's right now is the easiest time to make money in history. I mean, literally a dumb criminal like myself who never read a book prior to 2018 is making millions of dollars. When in history have you seen opportunities like that? Back 40 years ago, you had to put a billboard up. You needed money for that. You needed money to start up the business, right? You need a lot of starting capital. You needed education about the business. Now you literally can just start something online. But the only thing it's going to take is consistency and resilience. Like you said, you have to be able to go through that uncertainty, the failures, the mistakes. Instead of looking at it as a failure, looking at it as a learning lesson, a stepping stone, to where you want to go. I love that picture of like the stairs. It's like, the guy looking, I forgot how it goes. I'm not even gonna explain it, but it's a really good picture, And one of my favorite sayings says, everything worth doing is hard, right? The more worth doing it is, the harder it is, the greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. And fucking entrepreneurship is hard. It's also very easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's very simple to make money. Just let a bunch of fucking people know about your stuff, advertise the hell out of it, and close the deal. But the hard part is having the resilience and staying consistent when you're getting kicked in the nuts. If you can get kicked in the nuts and have sore nuts and keep going, then you could win. It's simple as that. You got to be a fighter, man. And I'm a fighter. I'm like the perfect example of that.
I love that. That's fantastic. My girlfriend and I have been having a lot of conversation around masculine and feminine energy. And I feel like that resiliency is such a masculine trait that is sorely missing in our generation right now. And it's one of those things that, leading by example, if you can showcase how you can just take hit after hit after hit after hit after hit and then get up and hit harder, it's like, it's inspiring for people. They get up and they're like, well, I don't have any excuses as to why it is that I can't do this. So then, like you said, maybe a sniffly nose, but if you can show them how you've got broken legs and you're able to conquer it anyway, it's like, they're like, well, I guess I'm going to give it a shot. And once they get that little taste of it and they start moving, it's going to be awesome for them. So that's awesome. I love that. That's a great superpower. What do you think that came from?
Like I said, going through adversities, like once you go through the confinement of jail, of drug addiction, and you survive that, everything is easy in life. Like nothing can happen to you that's going to really affect you. When I got fired, it bothered me for a whole 10 seconds and I was pissed off and I cursed, and I even cursed out the VP of the company. But then I was like, whatever, like, what am I going to do? Sit here and cry about it? Or am I going to fix the situation? Average people focus on the problem. Excellent people focus on the solution. What's next? Moving forward. So for me, there's just, like I said, like, because I've gone through so much challenges, stress, pain, cries, defeat in my life, there's just nothing that can defeat me. You can chop off my legs and I'm going to make it happen. It's going to suck, but you don't have to feel good about it. No matter what, you have to keep conquering, executing, going forward, despite how you feel. Like, it's not about how you feel. It's about what you're doing. Forget your feelings.
Definitely. I totally agree with all of that. That's fantastic. So to transition this back a little bit into more the business stuff, I'm curious to know, I only got a chance to do so much research on your Instagram and stuff, and I saw your stories and things of that nature, which are really cool. But the one thing I didn't actually end up seeing was what it is exactly that you're offering. So if you could go ahead and kind of share the results that you're trying to get people and things of that nature, that would be great in your own words.
Yeah. Absolutely. So essentially, we just give them the same exact journey that I experienced, and the fastest way to get to where we want to go is learning from the people that have done what you want to do. So we help either we have two different avatars, you can say. We either help you go from in-person trainer, working at a 9 to 5, limited income, trading your time for money. Heck, even if you are making 6 figures as a personal trainer, which is very rare, you're working your butt off to do so, to elevating and growing, serving people in an online presence instead, but in a digital platform with your own application, serving them with nutrition, accountability, and workouts, allowing you to have more time freedom, financial freedom, have that sense of empowerment and also fulfillment of growing your own thing and having, choosing what you do at your destiny. That's essentially what we help you do. So it's kind of like a biz op offer, but B2C at the same time in the startup phase. And I would say 95% of our students are in that niche, but we also help them go from, and our goal for that is not just, is to get them to 6 figures, 10K a month, the notorious 10K a month, but not just that, but again, to have that financial freedom to control, to do what they want with their life and their finances and their time freedom and not work 12, 16-hour days like a personal trainer like I was, but also to help people as well. But we also do have, a small amount of people where we help go from, let's say they're stuck at 10K a month like I was, to growing to 50K a month with more automated systems, funnels. So we do help them like build out the funnels, the automations, set up the ads and stuff like that as well. But most of the people that we help out are in the startup phase, in the nitty gritty, startup phase.
Awesome. I love that. So what are some of your goals that you're working on right now? I know obviously, like you said, you recently hit the 2 Comma Club and all of that stuff. But what are those things that you're moving toward in this time?
Yeah, great question. I was literally on a call with my accountant for 2 hours prior to this. And I mean, number one is to learn how to make my money work for me more, because, I'm just a normal average guy. Like, I'm not average, but I'm a normal guy. Like I grew up with a middle class family, so nobody taught me like the wealth secrets and finance. I mean, you have a financial degree, right? Like you're financially literate, right? And like Rich Dad Poor Dad says, most people are financially illiterate. So, learning to make my money work for me, number one, by investing into more assets like real estate and stuff like that. On the business side of things is getting this company to $10 million or $1 million per year, really, ideally. And I think I truly believe we're going to hit that like in the next 12 months, which is, most people are probably like, that's impossible to go from 200K a month to $1 million a month in 12 months. But I truly feel like I am. We just hired a CMO to fix a lot of those funnel problems and stuff like that and optimize them. I feel confident in $1 million a month. That's my goal for that. Not just make more money. And it's not about just making more money, but it's that feeling of growth. Like, a lot of people will say 200, 300K a month is, enough to that's like disgusting amount of money, but it's not just about the money. It's that feeling of growth. Like even when you make that much money, you want to feel the growth in the company. For me, I love the feeling of growth. So I never want to feel complacent, no matter, even if I become a billionaire, or I should say when I become a billionaire, I don't want to be complacent there. I want to keep growing and evolving, get my health and fitness at an optimal stage as well. I'm not in the best shape of my life. I'd like to get a lot better. Improve my relationship with my lady as well, because those are behaviors and skills that I want to work on. Just improving my relationship, definitely getting this business again to 10 million a year and becoming the absolute, I feel like we already are, but becoming indisputably the best coaching company, not just for fitness coaches, but for all coaches in the game. Actually, I want to open up the doors once we hit 10 million to all coaching companies and agencies and shit like that.
I love that. There's a lot of great goals in there, and it focuses on the 3 key aspects that we as online marketers are familiar with, and it's the health, wealth, and relationships. And I actually have different totems that I wear all the time for them. And there's the Whoop here for fitness and health, and then there's the watch for wealth and time, and then there's my necklace here for relationships and faith. Yeah. So when you say all those things, it really connects with me on a lot of levels, because one of the things that I've personally been struggling with has been the concept of the difference between balance and unbalance in life. And I feel like I've finally come to the resolve where if you can have a checklist of 3 big things that you do every day, if it's health, wealth, and relationships, and you do one thing to move toward each of those goals every day, like whether it's a workout for your health, spending a few hours on your business, or reading a self-development book for the wealth, and then spending time with your significant other, that's really helpful for hitting all of those different things and moving in that direction. So that's really cool. That really struck a chord with me there. Remind me, how long have you been in this space? You said 6 years?
So since 2018, so now it's 2024. So yeah, about 6 years.
Okay. How did you kind of come across the online space? What showed you about the opportunities that were in the online space?
Yeah, so like I said, when I came out of jail, I had no Instagram, so I started a brand new one. And this was 2018, so it wasn't as crazy as it is now. In fact, if you got in the game then, you were kind of a little bit luckier than now, because like it's a lot more competitive now. Back then I'll be honest with you, like organic game was sweet. You know what I mean? If I had the skills that I had now back then, shit, I'd already be at $1 million per month for real, because leads were cheaper. There wasn't as much competition and stuff like that. But I enjoy the competition. It makes it fun. Sorry, I go off subject a lot. But question was how to get, okay. So yeah, I was completely oblivious to it. I was completely ignorant to it. I had no clue. I was just as skeptical as many of you watching this, trying to get into the game. And all you people who say we're scam artists, there's a lot of people right now saying that we are losers, that we are scamming. Right now, we're just making this to just talk out of our butt. I was that person, and I didn't believe it. Like I said, someone just randomly DM. Actually, the first time I found out about it, I'm lying, is somebody in the gym told me about it. He's like, yeah, I'm an online fitness coach who used to work here. I was like, what the hell is that? Because I was in jail for 3 years, so no social media or nothing like that, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm an online. I'm like, what the hell are you? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, we just help people get in shape online. He's like, I make like $5K a month. I was like, what? And that was like my first little taste. And I was like, well, I might as well sell some meal plans on the side. And I was just doing it for like $100 and literally sending it in the notes of my phone. But like I said, when I got fired, that's when that epiphany moment hit me. I'm like, oh shit is real. Like, what am I gonna do? Work in a gas station? And I swear, it's like an angel was sent. It's like, I truly feel like God has my back. Like he wants me to be in, like, I feel like it might sound weird, but like I'm an angel and I'm on this earth to like serve people and help them be aware of opportunities like I was, because I wasn't aware. So when the guy hit me up, I felt just as skeptical and as fearful as you. I might come off as a badass, all this courage and, I've been to jail and all that tough stuff, but I'm really, I'm just a normal guy who became not normal, who decided to become above average. And when they cold DM me, I looked into his stuff, looked into testimonials. And I remember saying like, these testimonials, they could be bullshit, they could be fake and da. I literally said, I was like, I remember looking in his testimonials for like a whole hour, like studying them, just looking for any little red flag. And dude, I don't know. That's when I first found out. And I was just like, let's do it. I was like, what do I have to lose? Just be broke again. And I'm broke anyways.
Definitely. That is one of those really inspiring moments when you have people showing up and being like, hey, did you see, Russell always uses that one story. It's like the 4-minute mile. And it's like that one guy finally broke it. And then the next thing you know, like everybody's doing it. And it's the coolest thing. I love that. You mentioned a lot about how times have changed since your time out of jail and everything. And one of the perspectives that I've had as of recent is that we live in a very unique time in history where we have the ability to take a moment in time and save it forever, right? And we do that through the form of video like we're doing now and audio. And so one of the things I like to ask as we get to the end of the podcast is like, what would be one of those things that you would share on a day far from now when you're dead and gone and life has, come to an end as we know it, but there's future generations that are coming here and trying to learn from those who came before? Like, what's the best advice that you could give to people, if that makes?
Face your fears, man. Have the courage and, everything you want is on the other side of uncertainty, rejection, and suffering. You're going to accept that you are going to have to suffer with accomplishing great things. Not everything, we make it look very fun and amazing on social media. And honestly, I love everything I do with business. Like I can work 12 hours per day, like nothing. But those behaviors are built over time of consistency and reps, and it becomes habitual over time of repetition. Just like going to the gym. At first you got to suffer, then you go to the gym, it starts to be enjoyable and you feel great after you did it. So you have to be consistent. You got to have delayed gratification. Most people, despite how marketing makes it seem very easy, most testimonials are showing you 10% of hundreds of testimonials, and they're only going to show you the greatest ones. They're not going to show you the clients who took 2 years to hit 10K a month, which is what it takes most people. Just Google it. It takes like 3 years for most people to be profitable. Doesn't mean it's going to be your story. The only way you can change your story is by speaking into existence, is changing your story yourself, right? So consistency, resilience, building up your skill level. Don't be soft, like invest in yourself, change your environment, because your environment will dictate your success. If you're around a bunch of negative Nancys who are telling you, hey, this isn't going to work, you're just going to be another duplicate of them. So don't be afraid to invest and take a risk on yourself, because you either win or you learn, but both of them get you closer to where you want to go.
That's awesome. I love that. I remember for me, in my journey, the very first thing that happened for me was it was the message of fear versus faith, right? And it's like when you have that fear, the only way to really overcome it is to do it anyway and just have faith that it's going to work out. I had this very real message put in front of me of the difference between blind faith and tested faith. The concept was basically, my mom came to me one day in my childhood and she gave me this piece of paper that had a quote on it, and I remembered it to this day because of how profound it is. And it's, faith is knowing that when you're walking in the dark, you'll either be given more ground to step on or you'll be taught how to fly. And when I think about that, I'm like, man, that's crazy, because when you think about fear versus faith in that literal analogy, when you visualize it, like if you can't see because it's super dark, you can feel with your feet still as you're walking, right? So you can put one foot in front of the other and keep moving in blind faith. There's going to be that point where there's nothing there and you can't feel it. And now you have to jump and you have to take that literal leap of faith and face those fears, because that's where it's going to be the loudest, is right when you need to take that jump in your journey and do something crazy, basically, because it seems crazy on the outside, but the way you beat that fear is with faith. It's powerful stuff. I love it. What would be one of those moments in your journey where you had to take that leap of faith?
Many of them, right? It's not just one leap of faith, but it's funny that you say that. I did a podcast last week with a good buddy of mine, Jose Moralejo, and he's a mindset coach. And he asked me pretty much the same thing. I've realized the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, right? The more risks I take, the more I'm rewarded, right? So the first time was definitely, the initial start was the hardest leap of faith because you don't believe in anything. But once you're part of a community, you see people winning, like you said, you believe more when kind of like the 1 mile run, the 400 mile, whatever the thing it's called, right? The first guy that ran a mile in 4 minutes, right? But there was many like investments that I made where I didn't have a direct result. Right now I get the result from it because it makes more sense now. I have more context on it. And even the bad, like I've invested $200,000 into mentorships at this point, and some of them bad, but all of the ones that were bad were still good because they helped me build like an arsenal. So I'm constantly taking leaps of faith. But in the past year, I've been taking consistent, like massive leaps, and each one has paid off dividends by a long shot. Like I'm talking about $40,000 mentorships, all in one shot. And that was a mentorship that really, set things off for me. So I realized in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, he says too, the people who get the biggest rewards are the people who are not playing small. They're taking big, massive risks, not $100 on the stock market. We're talking about $40,000, $1 million investments, Once that happened, like I'm the easiest sale in the world. You give me an opportunity, I'm just like, yes, like let's go. Because everything has helped me, even the ones where I didn't make money tomorrow, it taught me something that helped me build my business. So yeah, I keep taking massive risks. Like I just, hired one of the most expensive hires salary wise last month. A CMO is an expensive fucking job, right? That was scary, but I didn't even think twice about it. I was just like, let's go, so that's a scary investment right there, like paying your payroll, right? Yeah, just, you got to keep taking risks, man. Bigger risk, bigger reward.
Amen to that. Well, I appreciate your time today, Eric. If you could let people know where it is that they can reach out to you and get a hold of you if they want to get involved in anything that you have, and where the best place to get involved in your stuff is, that'd be great.
Absolutely. If you want to join the best coaching program for fitness coaches, you can find me at ERIK_Anthony Fit. You can hop on my funnel at go.eric-anthony.com. I have so many at this point. And anywhere, Eric Anthony, YouTube, we drop tons of free value. Literally, if you're down in the dumps, low on cash, go to my YouTube. You will literally start making money just by watching those videos, but also implementing them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Eric. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah. Take care.